Are you looking for inspiration on a daily basis? Well, check out Deal to Heal Tees. With our inspirational tees, you're sure to find something that will inspire you. Just go to dealtohealtees.myshopify.com. That's Deal to Heal Tees. Put some inspiration in your situation. Wear inspirational tea and be inspired all day. That's Deal to Heal Tees at dealtohealtees.myshopify.com. Hey guys, this is Earnest James, host of the Deal to Heal with E. James podcast, and I got a question to ask you. Could you buy me a cheeseburger? Better yet, could you buy me a value meal? Yes? Well, guess what? I don't need a value meal. However, for the cost of a value meal, you can support this podcast to keep us on the air. Just go to Patreon/Deal to Heal podcast and choose any one of the 3 tiers that's available. And if you just want to make a one-time donation, go to Cash App and make a donation to $EJames, the number 418. Make a one-time donation to the Cash App, or again, go to Patreon to support this podcast and keep us on the air. Thanks in advance. Be blessed. Welcome to Deal to Heal with E. James podcast. On this podcast, my guest and I will discuss topics and ways to help us to heal in every area of our lives. I believe that everyone can live a life that is happy, healthy, and whole. So I'm on a mission to help people to deal, heal, and fulfill. Deal with your problem, heal from the pain, and fulfill your purpose. Thanks for tuning in. Let's get to it. Welcome to the Deal to Heal with E. James podcast. I am your host, Earnest James, and I believe that everyone can and should live a life that is whole, healed, and healthy. And therefore, I'm on a mission to help people to deal, heal, and fulfill, to deal with your problems, to heal from the pain, and to fulfill your purpose. Thank you guys once again for tuning in to the Deal to Heal with E. James podcast. If you haven't already, make sure that you are subscribed to our YouTube page, our Facebook page, and also our podcast on Spotify or on any of your podcast listening platforms. And also, I'm going to share with you guys how you can win $100 from the podcast, right? I'm going to share with you how you can win $100 from the podcast, but you got to stay until the end of the podcast to get that information. So once again, thank you guys for tuning in to the Deal to Heal with E. James podcast. And today, just like any other day, we are blessed with the guest, Mr. Sylvester. How are you doing?
All right, E, what's going on with your brother? How you doing?
I'm good, man. First of all, let me say thank you for being here. You could have been anywhere else doing anything, but you took out the time to be here with me and my listeners. So I want you to know I definitely appreciate it.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate the opportunity to be on your podcast, man. I love everything that you're doing, so I'm grateful to be here today.
Thank you. I appreciate it. So let's jump right in. Let's just I'm messing all up. Let's jump right in. Right. So do me a favor, introduce yourself to the listeners and let us know exactly who you are and what it is that you do.
Oh, absolutely. So my name is Sylvester Jenkins III. I'm originally from Columbus, Georgia, currently live in Clarksville, Tennessee. What I do, I empower the next generation to overcome adversity and just get rid of their limiting beliefs and unleash their inner warrior by helping them win the battle within. I help them to turn stress into success and obstacles into opportunities. I am a veteran, an author, professional speaker, and also an Army veteran and mental health advocate.
All right. You got a mouthful. First of all, let me say thank you for your service. Definitely appreciate everybody that take out time to serve, to protect the freedoms and the values that we have here in America. My dad's a veteran, as well as some of our other family members. Some are still active, some not. But I definitely respect the service. Definitely come from a bloodline of servicemen, and women to speak on that. So I definitely thank you for your service. One of the things that I know that you do as well as being a serviceman, is being a father. And not
Yes.
just being a father, but being a girl dad. So, as you know, on this podcast, I am a girl dad. Definitely appreciate the girl dads. So, starting right off, I got two questions for you.
Okay.
The first question is, what does it mean to you to be a girl dad? And the second question is, give us something that your daughter has taught you.
Oh, absolutely. So what it means to me to be a girl dad is just it gives you one of the greatest responsibilities on this earth. You get to be a true influence in showing um, a woman how to be a woman, what she needs from a man in order to become whole at any point in time in her life. You are that first example. You are that blueprint of who she will choose to marry or, become one with once she departs your house. So I think it's one of the greatest gifts that you can ever have as being a father. So that's what that means to me. And what my daughter has taught me, she taught me so many things, man. That's my sugar mama. That's what I call her because she runs the house. But two things she taught me is patience and compassion, because I have three boys and I'm able to be stern and hard with them, and but also fair, caring and loving as well. But she taught me how to be patient when it comes down to the other things that I didn't know that a woman needs or a female needs. Also the compassion as far as dealing with that. With your boys, you can be a little, harder, but with, my girl, I had to tone it down a bit. And then she just, she spoiled rotten, man. I'm gonna just say that off top. Because I want to give her the world. I want to show her what she can have once she departs my house, once she leaves my household. And but those are two things that she showed me.
All right, man. I love it, man. I really my daughter now is 19, so
Wow.
I always say she's not a baby, but she's still my baby.
Right.
But she grown and doing her own thing, and but it's still just the process, and just being a girl there because it never stops.
Yeah.
The only thing that changes is the part you play changes. It's still hands on, just a little different.
Right.
So I love talking to other girl dads and getting their perspective on that. So thank you for answering that, and thank you for being the dad that you are.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Let's jump right in a little bit, dive in a little bit, right? And so I want to know, first of all, tell me your journey, right? Because I know you weren't always the person that you are today,
Right.
And that there's always a backstory to how we get to become who we are,
Right.
And especially for those of us who have a heart for people. Generally, I always say, if you have a heart to help someone, you either needed help or someone just helped you. You know
Absolutely.
what I mean? At some point in your life. And so tell us a little bit about who Sylvester was and that journey to becoming to the man that you are today.
Absolutely. So, like I said before, I'm originally from Columbus, Georgia. Grew up in a low-income, single-parent home, gang and drug-infested neighborhood where a young man was only expected to do three things, and that was go to jail, die, or make it out on pure luck. During that time frame, by the age of 13, I had already joined the gang, sold drugs, was on drugs, breaking into people's homes. I can remember being on the corner with crack in one pocket and a 38 in the small of my back. Just going down that line, I failed multiple times in school. I was looking for a sense of purpose, direction. I felt abandonment, dealt with identity issues, low self-esteem, emotional neglect. Just during that time of my teenage years and during the time of me trying to figure out what's next for me, because I contemplated dropping out of school because I failed the 4th grade, the 6th grade, 8th grade, 10th grade summer school, and the 12th grade. But and when you fail so many times, you just feel like you're a loser. You feel like, what else is there left for me? I can't do nothing else but continue to just try and survive some way, somehow. But needless to say, there's one person that I always wanted to make proud, and that was my mother. I seen her work tooth and nail countless hours when it came to working at a mill. And, due to her just her sacrifices and everything that was going on, raising 3 boys on her own. It just caused me to just want to change the narrative some way, somehow, to just make her proud in some way, to let her know that her sacrifices didn't go unjustified. So that's when I looked into joining the military, because I wanted to, serve my country, like I said before, look for a sense of purpose and a way out of my environment. So that's what I did. And when I joined the military, I joined at the age of 19, which was kind of difficult for me as well, because, you got to take a test called the ASVAB before you can join the military. So I failed that 4 times, because initially I looked into joining the Navy. I looked into joining the Air Force. And then the Marines didn't even give me a shot. I remember us talking earlier, and the Marines didn't even give me an opportunity. They were like, "Nah, we good. We heard about what you did at the Navy. We straight." And so the Army, they was like, "Hey, I guarantee I can get you in." So just so happened, I got excited, tears of joy, whatever it might be, because I knew that this was my opportunity and I didn't want to waste it. So I joined the military. And my first 3 years, man, I suffered hardship during that time frame. I was engaged to be married to my high school sweetheart. She got pregnant by somebody else, so that ended. Not only that, but then I also got in trouble while I was in there. I got 2 Article 15. For a lot of people who might not know what Article 15 is non-judicial punishment. So I got punished. So I got reduced in rank, got busted in rank, got money taken from me, and I had to do 45 days extra duty. Now, I got punished because I pissed hot on the urinalysis, and then I got into an altercation with one of my NCOs. Both of those times right there, I was just in a bad place. I was in a very bad spot. I felt like the world was coming to an end. Everything one after another. I felt like I didn't have oxygen to breathe. And then along that journey, I found myself just trying to get back on the horse, trying to figure out what can I do in order to get out of this sunken place. And I started to move forward, but I still haven't got rid of those inner demons. But in the process, how they say hurt people hurt people. That's what I did. So instead of dealing with all my inner demons, all I did is just jumped into another relationship, got married. And when I went on my 3rd deployment to Iraq, I went through an acrimonious divorce, came back home to nothing. When I say nothing, I mean nothing. The house was empty. All the furniture was gone. My car was gone. My bank account was on E. It was bloodshot red. And so, you dealing with the situation of defending your country for 365 days, and you come back to this. Now you're feeling like, man, what else do I got to lose? And I got at a point where I wanted to wave the white flag. I really wanted to take my own life because I felt like I didn't have nothing to live for. And so at that time, that's when everything started to shift for me. Like when I was right there in my living room, sitting with the bottle of liquor, cigarette, smoking a couple of Newports, and had the gun like in the closet ready to go grab it. I felt like, the tears started rolling down my face. I'm questioning God, like, why me? Why did I have to go through all this? And then all of a sudden, next thing I just felt like he was telling me, like, give it to me. All the pain, all the hurt, everything that you're dealing with, the bitterness, the resentment, give it to me. And at that time, I got on my knees and I started praying. And when I started praying, next thing I looked around my house. And when I looked around my house, I noticed how dirty it was. The empty liquor bottles, the beer cans, the empty packs of cigarettes, clothes thrown all over the floor. And I immediately went to clean up my house, because how it looked on the inside of my house is how I felt on the inside of my body. And I felt like that was the beginning of me investing in myself, me really taking the opportunity to figure out what it takes in order to better myself. And so over the time, I just continued to dive in deep when it came to investing in myself and becoming who I am today.
Man, that's cool. That's cool. I wanna speak on 2 things that you mentioned. First of all, I can relate with you talked about failing some classes early. So as myself, I'm also a speaker, a professional speaker, and one of the things that I talk about is failure, the great achievement, right? Because in my life, I failed 2nd grade, right?
Okay.
And I remember going through that. I failed, and it wasn't because I've always been a pretty smart guy, right?
Right.
And so, but what it was, I was basically playing Robin to one of the guys in the class who was like Batman, right? So he's like the class clown and popular one, whatever. So I'm just
Right.
like running behind him, and as it got to the end of the semester, and they're like, "You failed," And so I don't know how your household was when it came to report time card, but when
Oh yeah.
that time came, we had to go and stand before the judge, and the
Right.
judge in
Right.
our
Right.
house was my dad.
Okay.
And so I remember having that coming in there, and he's standing there, and he got the belt in one hand, and he got the report card in the other hand.
Right. Right.
And so, but one of the things that happened that day, what he said to me, he began to talk to me. And one of the things he said to me is, "I'm disappointed in you because I know you can do better than this," right?
Right.
And not only that, he's like, "You carry my name," because I'm Ernest Jr. My dad's Ernest Sr.
Okay.
And so just having that conversation, I remember with him standing there talking to me, and I'm bawling as a kid, right? I
Right.
was just crying, and he didn't even with me. You know what I mean? He just turned around, but I could see the pain in his eyes, from the situation, and he was kind of like, "All right, just go," right? And he turned his back on me, and I remember going out, and I had that same thought process that you had later was, I'm going to spend the rest of my life trying to making my parents proud, because of this failure, and that's what I did. I ended up, after that, I was just like on it. I was an honor roll student all through high school, graduated high school in 3 years instead of 4. I was on a mission,
Right.
and I remember, as an adult, after I was married and bought my first house, I called my dad. I had moved to another state, and he came over to the state that I was in and to see the house and everything. And I remember having that conversation with him where he was just like, "I'm proud of you. You did what I did. You took care of your family. You got your house and things like that," and having that conversation and not saying anything to him, but in my mind saying like, "Yeah, I did it. I made
did it.
up
Right.
for that failure." You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And to go from that, "I'm disappointed in you," to now, I mean, I'm sure along the way, like I said, I was an honor roll student. I had a lot of achievements in between that time.
Right.
So I'm sure I had heard the words before, but that day, I guess, was the day that it really settled into my spirit. Like,
Right.
okay, I did it. You know what I'm saying? And so that just having that why, I know as a speaker, I'm sure you're familiar with it. When we talk with the different audiences, to find that thing or that person that gives you the drive to push through, man. And so we call it your why. Finding your why. And so yeah, just like you with your mom, and myself with my dad, and finding that why, that thing that give us that motivation to push through. I could definitely relate to that with you. And another thing I could relate to that you talked about was getting to the point where you felt like taking your own life, right? And so I've shared my story a lot of times, multiple times on the platform, but I know one of the reasons why I shared it because us as men, and also as being Black men, a lot of times we don't share, right? And we go through different hardships and things. And one of the reasons why it makes it so hard when we're dealing with stuff is because we feel like we're the only one, right? Because we have not built a circle, or even within our circle with some of our friends, we haven't built that trust factor where we can share some of the things that we've been through, some of the hardships and the failures that we've had. And so we hold it in. And so, like I said, I've told my story multiple times, where I was in that place, going through divorce, going through debt, going through a depression itself, and then my mom died. So dealing with all of that within a short time period, had me in a place where I'm like, you know what, I'm ready to check it all in. And thankfully for me, and prayerfully, I was able to get out of that space with some hard work on my side, on my end, but also with some family and friends that prayed for me and also pulled me, along. So I had the strength to stand up on my own and come out of that space. And so I want to just, I know you talked about it a little bit about praying and having that change of heart in the midst of your prayer. But I want to talk about it a little bit more because, like I said, I knew it would. For my example, there were some people in my life that were strong for me when I wasn't,
Right.
to help me get out of that space. And so, along with the prayer, that you had at that time, what were
Right.
some of the other mechanisms that helped you to, to climb out of that hole that you were in?
I think the support channel, like you said. So my mother was a big influence. So she coached me through it. And then also I had an older brother who was, very supportive of everything that was transpiring with me. So I think, that social network dealing with the family is very, very prevalent and was well needed during that time frame. But also just starting to take the time to do, I started working out more. I think that was a big beneficial for me because, when you start to look good, you start to feel good. And so like with working out, it started to, work on the mind as well. So I invested time dealing with the circumstances of working out, communicating more with my family, expressing my emotions, talking about my feelings, because I always tell people, even Superman had to be Clark Kent sometimes. You just can't sit there and just hold it in. Some people look at transparency and vulnerability as a kryptonite, but in all actuality, it's a superpower. So you need to make sure that you share what you're dealing with and going through, because it could benefit you. Not only can you heal from it, but you might be able to help others get through circumstances that they might go through. So those are some of the things that I did in order to, catapult myself from that situation that I was in during that time.
Man, I love what you said, man, because being able to be vulnerable, and transparent, especially as a man, is so much needed in our communities, and not just in our community, but in our world today, just amongst men.
Right.
And that's why I'm always very vocal, especially when I have a guest on that doesn't mind sharing their story, because I want it to be, I want it to be normal. I want to normalize us as men being able to say I was hurt,
Right.
being able to say I was dealing with some things or am dealing with some things. You know what I'm saying? Not only to admit, our own hardships and the things that we're going through, but also in the midst of us admitting it, that gives those who we're talking to, our friends, our homies, other men who may just be able to hear our conversation, the permission to be vulnerable themselves. You know
Absolutely.
what I'm saying? Gives them the permission to be like, hey, I was hurting too, and feel safe to be able to express themselves, without fear of being judged or misunderstood. And so thank you for sharing that, man. And so just listening to you, I know one of the things that you talk about, is resiliency, you know what
Right.
I mean? And the power to be resilient. So, when we're talking about that, because obviously, just coming out of that situation takes some resiliency for you to be able to bounce back from that.
Absolutely.
So just tell us a little bit about what does it mean to be resilient, and kind of what does it take to be resilient?
Okay, absolutely. So resilience is the ability to bounce back from adversity successfully. Let me put that at the end of it, because some people feel like they bounce back from a situation, but they hold on to those demons. They hold on to that those strongholds that prevent them from, escalating to a higher point, reaching their apex. So it's actually being the tennis ball and not the egg. And I always tell people there are three types of people in this world. You got the potato, the egg, and the coffee bean, right? So the potato, when you initially look at it, is hard, right? But then when you stick it in hot boiling water, that's adversity. What happens to that potato? It grows soft on the inside. Let's say this is dealing with losing a job or failing a big test at school, and then you got I lost track. Oh, the egg. I'm sorry. That egg. When you look at that egg, initially it's hard, right? Which means, when you're looking at it, it's already fragile from the start. If you drop an egg on the ground, it's going to shatter. It's going to break when it hit the ground. But then when you stick it in that hot boiling water, let's say they went through a divorce. Let's say they lost a loved one. What happens to that egg on the inside? It hardens, right? But then you got that coffee bean. That coffee bean, you stick that in adversity, that hot boiling water. What happens to it? It changes its surrounding for its better. So it goes from being a coffee bean to a fresh smelling pot of coffee. So this is what resilient represents to me. It's saying being a coffee bean and not the potato or the egg. So Some of the ways that you're able to do that, I want to say like three things, and they all start with C. One, you got to take control. You got to take control of your life and make sure that you do whatever it takes, because there are only three things that you can control. You can't control the weather, you can't control other people, but you can control yourself. So you can control your mindset, your attitude, and the decisions that you make. And then also you want to make that commitment. You want to make a commitment to yourself. Put in that dedication, that hard work, that patience. It's sacrificing your pleasure for your purpose. And then you want to challenge yourself. Challenge yourself to continue to become better than where you were yesterday. All it takes is 1% every day. That's all you got to do. Be 1% better than you were yesterday. That's 15 minutes of your life. That's all that is, 15 minutes of your life. You can go for a walk. You can look at some motivational videos. You can listen to a podcast. You can read a book. You can listen to an audible, whatever it might be. Do something to challenge yourself to be better than you were yesterday. So those are three ways that you're able to develop a level of resilience. And then some people feel like you have to be born with it. Now, this is something a skill that can be developed, just like finances or anything else. Like, you can develop resilience. Anybody can develop a level of resilience and come out stronger and better than they were before. I always tell people it's like the ballistic equipment when you're going through any type of combat or adversity in your life. This is like the Kevlar, the vest, the boots, all these things. This is what resilience is. It protects you from anything that could possibly hinder you from continuing to move forward in your life.
Yeah, I like that. I like that, and definitely like the three C's. And one of the things you mentioned several times is adversity, right?
Right.
And I think that that's one of the things we got to address, because I think sometimes, like we mentioned before, as men, and not just as men, but just as people, that sometimes we get into situations and we're faced different situations of adversity in one way or another, where it's on the job or it's in the house or
Right.
it's at school, and a lot of times we feel like we're the only one. And not only do we feel like we're the only one, but then we feel like there's no help. There's no one else to help us. And,
Right.
and we're kind of on this island by ourselves trying to deal with whatever that adversity is. And so I would say that, one of the ways that we deal with adversity is the 3 A's, right? So we have to, we first of all have to accept, the situation as it is. Like, okay, this is what we're dealing with. Whatever
Right.
the situation is, get past the woe is me and why it is me and whatever.
Yes.
It is what it is. So we have to accept it first. Then once we accept it, then we can amend it. So how can I take this adversity? How can I take this pain and tweak it a little bit here
Right.
and there? So now I don't see it as something that's hurting me. Now I see it as something that's helping me.
Right.
Because we always go through something for a reason. There's a reason for everything that we go through.
Absolutely.
And then the last A would be to extend. So once we accept it, amend it, then we can extend from it, which means we can move forward.
Right.
We can move up. We can go to the next level, because now we've learned to deal with this adversity that we may have been dealing with, to help us to get to that next level. So,
Absolutely.
Just in your own words, when dealing with adversity, what is a mechanism or something that you use, or that a tip, should I say, that you can give, to anybody that's dealing with some kind of adversity, just to help them get through it?
Absolutely. So for me, I'm in the acronym levels too. Like, you have the 3 A's. I had the 3 C's for the resilience. I got the 3 R's for the adversity. Recognize, reflect, and release. Recognize, reflect, and release. Recognize that there is a problem, that there is an issue. Reflect on it. See what, it's a difference between pain and suffering. Pain is temporary, but suffering is a choice. So if you find yourself in a position where you're continuously dealing with the worries, dealing with the self-doubt, the pity parties, dealing with all these things, try to reflect on what it is, what circumstances are you in right now that you can get yourself out of, in order to help you release those things that you're dealing with. And a lot of times it's our habits. Our habits cause us to deal with a lot of things that we're going through. And this is how you go from being a worrier to a warrior. Because once you develop those habits that are beneficial to you, you can unlearn those habits that are bad for you in order to release and move forward dealing with everything that transpires in your life. So that's a way that you can get rid of adversity or overcome adversity.
Man, man, hey, so to the listeners, y'all better have a pencil or a pen or something, because we dropping some knowledge down today. I'm definitely a person that love acronyms, and I got one that I want you to. I'm gonna bring it to you a little later. That I heard you say, because I always go back and look at my guests
Right,
reels and things that they have on their social media.
right.
Actually, one of the things I wanted you to talk about that I heard you say on the video today, which is I think is another coping mechanism that you talked about, which was the 10-10-10 rule.
Oh yeah,
And so
yes,
tell
absolutely.
us a little bit about that, because I thought that was interesting also.
Okay, so 10-10-10 rule is another form of a resilience skill. All right, so it helps you to put things in perspective and be more optimistic. So the 10-10-10 rule is how would this affect me 10 minutes from now? How would this affect me 10 months from now? How would this affect me 10 minutes from now? Say like if you're going through an acrimonious divorce, how would this affect me 10 minutes from now? I would still be devastated. I would still be crushed. I would still be going through a lot of weariness, right? But 10 months from now, I can see myself starting to come out of this situation that I'm currently experiencing, dealing with this divorce, this hardship. And then 10 years from now, you're a totally different person. And when you look back at all you experienced throughout that time span, dealing with all that hardship, that pain, that suffering, and everything that you went through, you start to notice like, man, either it helped you to become better or you was going through the motions of seeing something that this probably wasn't the person for me from the start. And it was just helping me to mature and grow when it came down to the circumstance that I'm in today. So the 10-10-10 rule is to help you to put things in perspective so you can continue to move forward and transition out of that mode of suffering.
Yeah, and I think that even with that 10-10-10 move rule, which helps you kind of change your mindset, right? Which is another big
Yes,
thing that we have to deal with when going from where we are to where we're trying to go to where
right.
becoming who we're trying to be. You got to change that mindset, right? And so I know that plays a big part, and one of the things that I always talk about when dealing with a mindset. Because I remember having a conversation with a young man, and I was turning him on to some more positive things, some positive messaging, some positive speakers, and even some positive, music. And he was like, I don't really listen to that, And then one of the things I told him is that you don't because you won't,
Yeah,
right? Because you don't listen to it. You know what I mean? You
right,
won't listen to it because you're not giving it a chance. And
right.
because all you do is listen and watch negativity, that's all your mind longs
That's it.
for, because that's all that you're feeding it.
That's
You know
it.
what I'm saying? I said, so when you start feeding it something different, then they start craving something different. And
Right,
so you have to take the chance or the initiative to be like, you know what, I'm gonna do something different. So let me try, listen to this different music. Let
yep,
me try listening to these motivational speakers, or some different, watching something different. Let me watch some documentaries and get some
right.
learning instead of watching some of the other stuff that I'm watching. So
Absolutely.
all those things, that we have to be mindful of when we guarding our ear gate, our eye gate, you know what I'm saying, and the
Right,
information that's going in, because what goes in is going to come out. You know what I
exactly.
mean? And so the things that we pay attention to, the things that we watch, the things that we listen to, all plays a major part in changing our mindset. So what
Right.
would be something, or just a word of advice, or something that you feel that's important to let others know when it comes to changing that mindset? What is something that they may need to do?
Oh, absolutely. So I always tell people what you tune into, you turn into, right? And what you feed your brain is just as important as what you feed your body. And a lot of us need to go on a diet from what we watch
Mhm.
and what we listen to. You need to take an opportunity to purge your social media. You need to take an opportunity to push back from the music that you listen to. And I say you have to develop a growth mindset. This is what I like to call eyesight versus mindsight. Your eyesight is seeing the things that are right in front of you. Continuously listening to negative music or not trying to expand your horizon when it comes down to the stuff that you're putting into your body. But your mind sight is perceiving the things that you see, nobody else, right? So it comes down to a point where you want to be successful. Guess what you need to do? Steady, successful people. You want wealth. Okay, steady, wealthy people. If you want happiness, listen to things that are happy. So you have to take the time to purge everything, remove it from your life, and then step forward into listening or hearing or watching those things that are positive. Like for me, I think laughter is one of the best medicines out there, right? So before I go to bed at night, I want to, kind of digress from a lot of things that I experience throughout the day, because regardless of how you feel, you can't prevent yourself from experiencing some negative things throughout the day. So in order to digress, I watch all kind of comedy videos, short reel pranks, and everything on YouTube. YouTube University, man, has built more millionaires than Harvard or Stanford ever will, right?
Right.
So anything that you need, how to have a laugh, if you want to find some little Kevin Hart videos, snippets, or whatever it might be, take an opportunity to laugh your way to a happy night. That's how you do it. I take the opportunity to do that every night, or watch some people that doing great gratitude, giving people money or helping people out of fire, stuff like that, man. Like I watch all these beneficial things before I go to bed at night, because you don't want to sleep on the negativity that you already experienced. And you wake up in the morning carrying that same stuff that you experienced from the day before. Your subconscious mind, man, is a powerful thing.
Yeah, man. We can go all day, man. We can go all day.
Right,
Hey, I want to talk about before we get out of here, because I know you're an author,
right,
right? And I know one of the books that I seen was I think the comeback. What's the name of it?
right.
I almost said it
From
wrong.
combat to comeback, from
Right.
combat to
Okay.
comeback.
So
How to conquer the battles of adversity.
I want to talk a little bit about that one,
Okay.
but also that's not the only one, right? You have several books, right?
Yeah, so I have written and self-published 4 books, and my first one was A Quick Cure to Successful Leadership. My second one was how to win the battle within, winning the battle within. I'm sorry, and then my third one was The Compass. Real leaders navigate change, and then I recently released this book, From Combat to Comeback.
Okay, so what is the message of from combat to comeback? Like what is the message in that book, and what is it that you want the readers to walk away with when they finish reading it?
Absolutely. So I want them to gain a different perspective when it comes down to adversity. I don't want them to look at it as something bad or negative, right? I want them to look at it as a advantage, because to every level of adversity that we face, there's an equivalency of advantage to it, regardless of how you want to see it. Because if you don't go through adversity, you'll never develop and grow. There's 2 reasons why your life is hard. It may be because you're stepping outside of your comfort zone, or maybe because you're still in your comfort zone. You got to choose your heart. And I prefer to step out of my comfort zone and grow. And that's going to come with a level of adversity, because you're experiencing things that you possibly never went through before. Some things might be challenging for you to the point that you're still trying to figure out what it takes. It might be exhausting. It might be tiring, but still you got to continue to push through it in order to make sure that you come out on top, or whatever you're trying to succeed in. Your level of success might not be the same as mine. Your level of happiness might not be the same as mine. But when it comes down to combat, it's something that we experience every day. You don't have to be in the military to experience combat. I look at combat as adversity, right? You face predicaments in your relationship. You face predicaments in your finances. You face predicaments in your mental, your spiritual, your physical. This is combat. When you face those battles, and I want to give you the tools, the strategies, the techniques in order to come out on top and come back stronger than you were before. So that's a little bit about what this book can provide for you, how it can help you and make you come out better and stronger than what you were before.
Man, definitely. I like that. Man, Sylvester, first of all, let me say thank you for being on, right? Thank you for coming in and definitely sharing your story and your expertise. I want you to have the last word, and also leave us with your social media handles and things like that. Definitely the information where we can get the book and things like that. So I want you to have the last word. So I'll give you a chance to think about that. To my listeners, I told you guys I would tell you how you can win $100 from the podcast, and you win $100 from the podcast by joining our super subscriber contest. So what does that mean? You must subscribe to our YouTube channel, to our Facebook page, and to our podcast on Spotify. And after you've done those three things, you text the word WIN, WIN, to the number 866-326-0730 to qualify to win $100. The contest is ongoing and it's random. So once you're in, you're in. You ain't got to worry about it no more. And you can win at any time. So that's what you need to do in order to win $100 from the podcast is join our super subscriber contest. Also, another thing, guys, our website is up and running. dealhealfulfill.org is the website. When you go to the website, you'll be able to connect with myself, see what I have going on. Also, there's information about the podcast. There's information about the ebooks. You want to make sure that you check out our ebooks. Our ebooks is, if you go to the website, which is dealhealfulfill.org. Again, you can click on the link for the ebooks or the link for the Deal to Heal tees, which is the t-shirts, or you can go to their own separate links. The website for the ebooks is ebooksbyejames.com. I made that real simple. ebooksbyejames.com. There's 3 books that's available right now. There's more to come. Definitely, the Deal to Heal tees is on Shopify. We have about 7 or 8 different t-shirts that's on there to choose from. But definitely check out our website, man. Check out the website, dealhealfulfill.org. And also there, you can hire myself or book myself to be a speaker at your event, your next event, or to hold a workshop for you, right? And also check us out with the Forgiveness Mission at the forgivenessmission.com, which we are doing forgiveness workshop, virtual forgiveness workshops every quarter of the year. So that's four times a year. We're doing these workshops where we talk about forgiveness, what it is, what is not, forgiveness of self, forgiveness of others, and health and wellness. So that's just some of the things that we got going on. Make sure you guys check us out. Again, dealhealfulfill.org and also the forgivenessmission.com. So check us out there. Mr. Sylvester, again, let me say thank you once again for taking out the time to be here, to share your voice with us, sharing your story. We definitely dropped a lot of knowledge on this episode. So I hope everybody get a pencil and a pen and go back, start from the beginning and listen again so they can write it down. But again, I thank you very much, man, for taking out your time to be here. I really appreciate it. And again, thank you for your service. And I'll let you have the last word. The floor is yours.
Absolutely. So I want to first start by starting by giving you your flowers since we're on the podcast. You know, everything that you're doing right now, man, is phenomenal. I just want to continue to encourage you. Keep doing what you're doing, brother. You're changing lives, and together we are the change, right? So I just want to continue to encourage you and strengthen you, brother, because you're doing phenomenal things, man. You're giving people an opportunity to learn more, to be able to heal and deal with a lot of things that they're currently experiencing and going through. And to anybody that's listening right now, hopefully, you know, there's somebody that at the point where you might have lost a sense of hope. And this podcast episode has been able to give you some gems in order to overcome that battle that you're facing. But I want to tell you, the major key to your better future is you. Nobody else, is you. You have to change in order to see change. You know, you have to take back your power. You have to get to a point where you're not going to set yourself up for failure. You're not going to hold yourself to a lower standard. You have to step out your comfort zone. I say everybody is like a piggy bank, right? You know, you have a purpose inside of you. And sometimes you're going to have to go through the beating. Sometimes you're going to have to go through the shaking and possibly even be broken in order to get that purpose out of you. Everyone was created on purpose for a purpose. Matter of fact, you were created on purpose for a purpose. Keep that in mind wherever you're going through and make sure you do the best you can to help yourself wherever you're trying to go to.
All right. Give us your social media handles and where we can find the books.
Absolutely. So you can go to my website at sylvesterjenkins.com and find any of my book. You can also go on Amazon, also go on Audible, Kindle for any copies of the book. And you can, my social media handles is Sylvester Jenkins III. I'm on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, TikTok. I just started this TikTok crap, man. My kids got me on it, but it's something new that's, you know, I'm starting. But all those other platforms, I'm I'm mostly on an often basis. And you can come on there at any point in time, see a sense of inspiration, see a sense of motivation, hope, whatever you need. I'm dropping gems and nuggets, all free of charge, all because I want to serve others, because we was all created on purpose for a purpose. Take care. God bless.
All right. We can't end it no better than that. To the listeners, thank you guys for tuning in once again to the Deal to Heal with E. James podcast, where our mission is to help people to deal, to heal, and to fulfill, to deal with your problems, to heal from the pain, and fulfill your purpose. So until next time, guys, be blessed. Hey, guys, I know you're enjoying the podcast. However, don't forget to join our text line at 866-326-0730. That's 866-326-0730 in order to receive text messages with new events and things that is going on and new episodes as they release. All right, see you in a minute. Thanks for listening to the Deal to Heal with E. James podcast. Remember to listen, like, subscribe, and share. This episode has been brought to you by Deal to Heal Teas. Put some inspiration in your situation. Wear an inspirational tea and be inspired all day. Let's go to dealtohealteas.myshopify.com. Remember, our mission is to help you to deal, heal, and fulfill. Deal with your problem, heal from the pain, and fulfill your purpose. Thanks for listening.